Hi, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. We are back with our new episode of Shatranj. In chess, the rule of game are what make every move meaningful. Without them, there is no game, only chaos. Governance is the rules of the enterprise, and in 2025, we are building the most powerful pieces the game has ever seen. AI systems can reason, decide, and act without yet agreeing on the rules that should govern them. Today's guest has spent a decade building those rules in ISO standards, its registers, in audit rooms, and now at the frontier of AI governance. Welcome to Shatranj, and we have our guest, Ms. Noor Aziz. I will request Noor to introduce herself with our guest.
So much, Mr. Sandeep, for the warm welcome. It's very kind of you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone who's joined across the globe. My name, Noor Aziz, a GRC AI governance professional based in Saudi Arabia with experience across multiple ISO management standards like quality, health and safety, cybersecurity, currently AI governance as well. I do have experience in internal audit, risk management, data privacy, ESG, and my work focuses on building governance that is practical, measurable, and evidence based, not just something that looks good on paper. I started my career in administration and operations, and over time, it just spontaneously moved into quality, compliance, and governance. And that journey actually helped me shape the way I see GRC today. Not just as a department that slows business down, but as a structure that helps organizations move with confidence, accountability, and trust.
Thank you for sharing your introduction and walkthrough from your journey. So, Ms. Noor, I would like to understand most people I speak into the GRC fell into it. You deliberately built for it. MBA at Liverpool, lead auditor certification across 5 ISO standards, PDPL and GDPR specialization. Why the investment in breadth rather than going deep on one standard or framework?
Well, that's something I do think about honestly quite a number of times. But I believe I invested in this kind of bread consciously because organizations do not operate in separate boxes or silos. A quality issue can become a compliance issue. A privacy weakness can become a reputational risk. A weak business continuity plan can affect customer trust. AI governance depends on like data governance, information security, risk management, ethics, accountability. So for me, going across this broad was not about collecting the certifications. Of course, certifications adds value to my profile. But it was like about understanding how these pieces connect because connection is important, integration is important. 9001 was my first landmark that taught me process discipline. 27001 taught me information security and the controls. 22301 ISO taught me resilience, and the latest ISO 4201 now brings governance into a management system structure. So PDPL and GDPR bring that human side of data into the conversation. So that's why the bread helps me sit with different teams across in an enterprise, translate that governance into their language. With operations, I talk about process. With IT, I talk about controls. With leadership, I talk about risk and accountability. With legal and compliance, I talk about obligation and evidence. So governance is not just like one standard, like I can pick up and say, okay, I want to go deep dive into that. It's the ability to connect all these standards into real decisions.
Wonderful. And this is very, very important because today every organization is working on a data layer and technology is taking the back, on the front seat. And it is basically becoming a spine for any organization to work. And the reputational risk is more than any financial risk nowadays because if you lost the reputation, right, and
Mhm.
that is going to impact not only in the short term, it is also going to impact the organization in the long term.
True.
I would like to know if you could only carry 3 of those 5 ISO certification into the
Right.
next decade, which would you keep and why?
In the current era, I would definitely choose ISO 4201 because it's AI governance. Of course, it's AI. We've got ISO 27001 and the business continuity 22301 because AI governance will become like the biggest board level issues that's happening in the current era. 27001, we need that information security. It's a dangerous thing to play with data and not understand it. And 22301, because organizations are learning now that
Yeah.
resilience is not optional at all. So I know 9001, and I believe strongly it's the foundation. It's the mother of all ISO standards, right? But it's like the grammar of management systems. Without that, there's no process discipline. But as to just to answer your question, the three certifications are the umbrella of the ecosystem of 42001, 27001, and 22301.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because we need to have our certification aligned to the today's requirement, and the way AI is growing across length and breadth of any organization, and the governments in the various countries, they are looking towards AI to be the part of their governance to their day-to-day operations, and to help them to scale or to make their operations more efficient and agile, right?
True,
To
very
help
true,
them
Mr.
to
Sandeep.
reduce the errors, right? So those
Right.
are the reasons, basically, the getting ISO 42001 like certifications becomes very, very important, because the people like you, those are doing this kind of practice, they can guide not only to the organization, even to the government or any other agencies, those are basically looking towards adopting these kind of new technologies. Over to my next question. At JNT Express, you were quality management supervisor,
Right.
leading QS 9000 implementation, scheduling audit reviews, applying root cause analysis.
Yes.
Then at SBM, you moved into full GRC. What does an internal audit actually look like on the ground? The parts nobody put on the job description.
Internal audit on the ground, Mr. Sandeep, it's much less glamorous. It's not the red carpet
Yeah.
that people imagine. It's not. It's much human. It's not just sitting with a checklist and ticking boxes like people imagine. No, it's like understanding the process, speaking to the people, asking the same question in like three different ways, just because you're checking whether the evidence matches the story and seeing whether the control actually works. You like I spent a lot of time looking for simple things. Who owns the process?
Mhm.
Where is the latest version? Who approved this? When was it reviewed? What happens if the owner or your stakeholder in your department is absent? What like evidence is proving what that this was done? So the job description may say it's just audit planning, audit execution, and reporting. Very simple words on the job description paper, but the reality is like the real words: patience, listening, judgment, and sometimes diplomacy, because bias isn't a part of the game at all. Because like when you find a gap, you're not just finding like a technical issue. You're finding like often touching someone's work, someone's pressure, someone's blind spot. You're touching all of that. That's also very delicate. You got to be really human with that. So a good auditor needs like spine, needs the backbone, but also emotional intelligence, which is so important, especially in the culture out here. You really need to know. So if you know only how to just point out the problems, people will hide things from you, people will be resistant, and it's difficult. It's very challenging. So if you know how to help them improve, they start like opening up their real files. They show you, they welcome you, and they want you to help them in return.
Yeah, and in any transformation journey, the governance is taken as the roadblocker, because they feel the governance delays the processes.
Right.
However, I believe the governance practices help to ensure our processes are more stringent, and we what we are implementing and what kind of solutions we are bringing into the organization, that doesn't break at the last moment. Okay, and what is the most painful for any project sponsor, to see the surprises at the end when the project is at the stage of go live. So
Right.
I believe the governance is one of the most important aspect in any such kind of a transformation journey. I would like to hear from you, what is the hardest part of closing a non-conformance report,
Yes.
the technical finding or the human conversation that has to happen first?
The hardest part, Mr. Sandeep, like you said, is the human conversation. It's
Yeah.
before the technical closure. It's easy to say this is wrong or this is the one that is the problem. So it's like writing the finding is super easy because you found it, you wrote it down. But comparative to getting people to accept that root cause, that's where the challenge happens. Many teams want to fix the symptom because it's faster. But closing a non-conformance properly means like asking why it happened, what is in the system that allowed it to happen, and that conversation gets very uncomfortable, but it is where the value is. That's what I believe.
No, very nicely put. Actually, I see because I've been part of a lot of audit, security audits, and CMMI 5 audit. And I remember when auditor used to come and ask the question, and I've been given the answers. Right, you have to give these answers, and you don't need to, go beyond this and that.
True.
So I used to say, don't worry, give me the time. And when auditor is in front of you, and trust me, they know what the question they are going to ask, and they are aware you have been trained to answer the questions.
Exactly. It's
So
a
I always
theater.
use, yeah. So so I always used to be ready to have those hard questions to answer it. Reason why? Because I have never gone in my day-to-day operations or even my business operations, whatever I'm doing for any organization. I have kept my principle and values first than anything else.
Ethics is
So you
important.
bring the governance, you bring anything. If you are taking the cut shots, right, you are going to stuck in any audit. You are going to stuck, and the regulatory industry, regulatory agencies, they are very smart,
Of
right?
course.
I'm multiple organizations, right? In the last decade, I worked with higher education,
Mm-hmm.
and they are always stuck in India. NAC, NIRF
Yes.
accreditation are very, very important, and they have to maintain their scores.
Mm-hmm.
And on the global level, there are different kind of regulatory requirements.
They
But
are.
every time when if your governance practices are in place, if you're, see, everybody knows there will be gap.
Of
But
course.
what percentage of gap will be there? That matters. If
Yes.
you're manipulating everything, then you're going to stuck.
True, very true. You can't play around in today's world
Yeah,
at all. You can't. You really need to comply. At
absolutely.
least the bare minimum with keeping your reputational risk at the minimum.
Absolutely, right? An auditor is not an inspector actually. He is also to help you to ensure
Yes.
your quality is not
True.
compromised.
True. Very
Yeah.
true.
So I would like to know, the risk registers are one of the most universally
Yes.
deployed and least useful governance tool
Yes.
in most organizations. Everyone has one, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many they use it and how much they update it. Almost nobody act on it. Yeah. So what
Yeah.
makes a risk register that actually changes decision versus one that lives in a SharePoint folder?
Risk register is like a list of fears for everyone. Everyone thinks it's a list of fears. They've got risk register
Yeah,
phobia nowadays. You'd say risk register, they're like, oh my God, you're pointing out my mistakes and writing
yeah,
it down there. That's what they feel nowadays. Or
right.
maybe it's evolving. It's a change that's happening. It's
Uh-huh,
slow change. They
uh-huh.
realize on a better level nowadays that it is coming into effect by helping them change their decisions, because for a risk register to matter, it needs five things, right? It needs the clear ownership, the real business impact, the current controls, the measurable indicators, and a link to decision making. So many a times, especially when I'm working in the technological industry, a risk says data breach. Nobody wants to own it. There is no control
Yeah,
owner, no KRI, no
right,
treatment plan, no leadership discussion. It was just a data breach and it's resolved. It's done. So
true,
just in this just text, it's like it's in a SharePoint folder. A breach
right,
happened and it's there in the folder. So a strong risk register should answer these practical questions.
right.
And when I make these risk registers, I try my best to answer these questions like what decision does this risk affect? What would make the risk increase? Who must act if it crosses that risk appetite level that we decided with the board or the committee? And what evidence should the control is working? When was it reviewed? So the risk register should not be like updated only because the auditor is coming. Oh no,
Hmm.
we're going to be checked. Let's update it right now. It should be like used when launching a system or onboarding a vendor. It's like a day-to-day thing. You make it a life daily process. It's just a part and parcel of the daily processes, right? You need to have it. So this is it's like when risk management becomes real. If you do this, if it's daily, part and parcel of the day, it moves from documentation to decision support. That's where it becomes real.
So I still remember I'm getting a mandate from project management or maybe from the program sponsor. This is our vision. We want to take our organization on this scale, on the maturity scale of a transformation journey. Now every organization is looking transformation to autonomous ecosystem.
Right.
I always ask them, what is your vision? What kind of value you want to drive out of this vision?
Mhm.
And when I'm creating this document, I always try to capture the risk and challenges. This is why it is important. I said, on the starting date, if you and I am not aware of what are going to be the roadblockers, it
Mhm.
can be resistance, it can be change management, it can be
Anything.
a third
It
party
can be as
application,
simple as
it
anything.
can be legacy system. So risk registers are, I believe, an early indicators. And trust me, Noor,
Mhm.
my 95% of transformation success is reason because I always kept a visibility on my risk and try
Mhm.
to overcome of them before it becomes a hurdle for me.
True. True. Very true.
Having said that, it doesn't mean the resistance doesn't come. People doesn't push you back. That always happen.
Yeah, it's true.
But
It's
how
very,
you are going to manage it? That is what your project management skill is.
yes, it's very true.
Yeah. So there's a follow-up question on this. Have you ever seen a risk register flag, something that genuinely prevented a major incident or loss? What did that look like?
Yes, actually, I would describe it in a practical way, not like a dramatic movie scene. Though things do happen in a very dramatic way in the current cases. I've seen risk reviews highlight dependency that could have become serious issues. They could have, they really could have become serious issues. For example, one of the very, let's say, heated places is the vendor reliance, the evidence gaps, the follow up, the due diligence, the business continuity readiness, and the implementation of business continuity. And the major thing is the unclear ownership. There is no ownership. No one wants to take ownership. They feel like it's like it's gunpoint on their head. They do not want it. So the value was not in the cases that I've dealt with. The value was not like the register itself or that the register saved the day by itself. The value was that it forced the right conversation early on, very early on, which was required.
Right.
So that's why
Yeah.
good risk management, that's what it does. It gives the
Yeah.
organization a chance, like you said,
Yes.
in your experience, it gives a chance to act before the incident becomes very expensive. And expensive is like millions of penalties of expensive.
And Noor, there's a saying, right? Precaution is better than cure. So I believe the
True.
risk registers are that precautions which
Mhm.
are being given to you and your team, that you know these things are going to happen, and these are the SOPs we have to take care if these kind of situation arise. So
True.
I'm sure the audience or the people those are listening here, we should understand that risk registers are not actually a red mark. These
No,
are,
no.
I think, I would rather say, are safety tools as well, right?
Yes,
So
they
they help
are.
us how to take it ahead. Yeah. So I would like to have a query. In ISO 42001,
Mm-hmm.
the AI management system standard was published in December 2023. We are already working across it.
Yes.
For an organization that has never
Mhm.
thought about AI governance before,
Right.
what does ISO 42001 actually require of them, and how different is it from what they already do for ISO 27001 or ISO 9001?
Right, 42001 ISO standard has become a thing, a trend, a hype.
Yeah,
It's like everyone wants to be certified and wants it there in their system because they want to be in that trend. They don't want to lose out on that trend, right?
right.
For organizations, especially who are developing, providing, or using AI systems, you need a management system to govern them. What organizations need to understand, what it really requires, is that you cannot treat AI as a technology product. Of course, it is technology, no doubt about it, but don't treat it like that. It's not just a stand-alone technology product. You give it to the technology department and tell them, okay, get the standard done or get the implementation done. You need the governance, you need the policies, you need the roles and responsibilities laid out. You need the risk assessment done. Do we need this initially? Yes or no? If we do, what are our risks? We need to assess it. That's like step one. You need the impact assessment, you need the controls for the AI life cycle, you need the supplier oversight, do the homework, do the back end research. You need the monitoring, you need the evidence, and you need the continual improvement because at the end, you need to improve. That's why you're doing this. You're not just doing this to stay in the trend, right? That's what it's required. So difference between the 9001 and 27001 is what you asked, is that AI introduces a new kind of uncertainty. With 9001, it's short. It's a foundation. It's the motherboard. It's like you manage the process quality. Simple. With 27001, you manage the information security risks. Pretty simple. With 42001 ISO, you also need to manage the behavior of the impact of the AI systems. So that includes how the system is trained, how it's used, what logic was used, what data was being input, what data does it touch at the end of it, what decisions it supports, who is accountable, which is so very important, and how harm or bias is like identified or controlled. So the important point to think or to know or to even ponder upon is like ISO 42001 does not ask organizations to stop innovating. No, it does not. It just tells them or asks them, innovate, but with accountability.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I remember in my past organization when I was working on a very large program, and I remember it was somewhere November, December 2023, and I emphasized to have a AI governance body to be formed.
Yes.
So I've been
Yes.
asked why you need a AI governance body required, and when we have so many people over here, those are already managing the program. So
Right.
that program was basically consolidating the 180 applications, fragmented application, to consolidate to 15 application and run the entire ecosystem. It
Oh,
was a turnkey project.
wow.
And when the
Yeah.
buzzword of AI started, we thought
Right.
of designing this solution.
Mm-hmm.
It is important to have this inclusion of AI at this point,
Yes.
because whatever you're designing today, you cannot go back and do the re-engineering after 3 years. So
Yes.
what we are planning today is for next 5 to 10 years, right? So
Yes.
if
True.
the journey is planned that way, so we ensure that AI needs to be part of our ecosystem at this stage itself.
Yes.
So when this question came, why you need a governance board, I said, sir, I'm asking you a very simple question. If I am going to connect an ERP application with my data lake, what
Yes.
data needs to be exposed or AI can answer? Who is going to decide that? The
Yes.
finance team has to take
No
that
ownership.
ownership,
No
and I
ownership at
need
all.
them to be, yeah. So DPO can also not be able to take that call. So I ensured it, and then we created that governance board. And frankly speaking, the initiative taken by the governance board and creating those kind of guardrails to ensuring all the parties should be part of it and take their ownership. So
Yes.
I do agree with you. The accountability need to be set. Who is going to own the data? IT is
Right.
not owning the data. IT is just a custodian of data. I always
Mm-hmm.
say we are just custodian. We
Mm-hmm.
ensure the data is there. It is being backed up. When you require, we can provide you. We are
Yes.
not we are just a custodian. Yeah.
True.
So okay. So moving forward to the next question to me, right?
Yes.
So I am sitting, or I'm part of the board member of World AI Governance
Right.
Foundation, which has been formed 1 year back in
Uh-huh.
India.
Okay.
And you work at the practitioner level implementing AI governance controls between the two of, with multiple of organization.
Right.
What is the gap between how talk about responsible AI
Yes.
and what actually happens in the system teams are deploying?
Oh, that's so interesting. To understand this, I honestly registered and uh, let's say um, took the course of the independent board exam for India as well. And I did register myself. I'm an independent director because I really need to understand the board talk before I could even understand what's happening up there on that circle, right? I mean, we're working on these lower levels and we know what is the ground reality. But I wanted to see what they see at the end of the day,
Right.
their vision, how they talk, why they talk like that. Why don't they understand us down here, what we're working? It's such a common the gap of understanding of what they think and what they do. So boards often talk about responsible AI. When I was going and getting my credential of being an independent director, I realized what they think. I understand what their vision is, what they're looking at, because from that oversight, all they think about is They talk about responsible AI at the principal level, while teams are like deploying AI at the tool level, right? So at the top, the language is usually trust, innovation, ethics, transformation, and competitiveness. So on the ground, the questions are more basic. Which AI tools are employees using? What data is entering? What data is leaked? Who approved this use case? Is there a human in the loop? Is there a human review? Did someone do the mistake? Can we explain the output? These questions are like there on the lower level. These are where we're very comfortable at. This is what you actually do. So the gap is after I got my credential and I registered with this board credential, I realized the gap. I realized that that is a gap. It's not that boards don't care, because that's what I used to think before I went into that picture. I was like, boards don't think, they don't care. But no, they do. That's their job. They actually do care. They are
Right.
responsible, and they are owning this at the end of the day. So, but responsible AI cannot remain like a leadership statement, right? I mean, it's not, they just can talk, they can think, they can guide, they can give the oversight. It needs to become an operating model. So, if the board says, we support responsible AI, that's their statement, because that's what their vision is. But nobody can produce the AI inventory, a use case approval process, or evidence of risk assessment. Then responsible AI is still an aspiration at the end of the day, not governance. So it's a whole package. There is a gap. There's a
Yeah.
gap of understanding. There's a gap of communication. But at the end of the day, everyone's doing their job. But that's the honest gap, I feel. The communication, the transparency, that is a gap, I feel.
Very well put. Because everybody should know what they are doing. And when you're talking about responsible AI, guardrails around the AI, the usage pattern of the users. And since it's a new kid into the board, right?
Right.
So everybody is currently trying to use it. And I'm
Mhm.
sure at this point, if you put the governance at this point and this time, I
Mhm.
believe this is the right time so that you can have a control. You know what you are doing, why you are doing, and who is going to own it. If you are just going to start using it, implementing your ecosystem without having a governance practices in place, it can be a problem. I think a couple of days back, I've read one news in one company. Owner was, he has got a kind of, I will say it's a fine for him to pay $500 million, $500 million of bill
Yeah.
because their employees have used that much of token. So what I
Yes.
am trying to say here is, this is not only from the cost point of view,
Yes.
the data which is going to the AI, the kind of training which AI is getting from your data, kind of application you are linking with the AI tool. So
Mhm.
how you are ensuring that your ecosystem is safe,
Right.
and that is where the governance come into the practice. And so, over it, Noor, I have my follow-up question. What is the
Yes.
first AI governance control an organization should put in place if they are starting from zero today? Not the
Ground
most
zero.
comprehensive.
Yeah, ground zero, nothing. Just go to your AI
Yeah,
inventory. Go to your
yeah,
AI use inventory. Start there, because if you don't know what you have, you'll never know what to do with it. So it's like not a 70 page or a 100-page thesis policy. No, you don't need that. You don't need the framework. You don't need hours and hours
yeah,
of meeting of people saying, okay, we'll use this framework, and then you don't use anything at all. So just know what exists first, because if you don't know what exists, like list down every AI use case. Who owns it? What's the purpose? What data does it have? Is it internal? Is it customer facing? Does it affect decisions about people? Is there a vendor involved over there? What are the risks known? Is it approved or experimental? So you cannot like govern anything that you have not listed or named, right? You usually need to know what's there. So the first move, like first, literally first one on the board is AI use case inventory.
yes, that's very, very important. I remember when we started this governance board, and the first question which was, put in front of all the team members by our chairman was, please come back with the use cases where you feel the AI can really play a big role into
Yes.
the day-to-day operations. Wait, no, now I've moved to real question, which is actually talking about the governance in the generative AI field. So
Right,
generative AI is being deployed faster than governance frameworks can be
right,
written.
right.
Employees are using ChatGPT on their personal phones to process work data
Oh
right
yeah,
now in organization
yeah.
that have
It's
not
like the
yet
best
written a
friend,
single
right?
Use policy. As a
Yeah.
GRC practitioner, how do you govern what you can't see?
Shadow AI, right? I mean, invisible AI. It's like it's there. It's
Yeah.
one of the most real problems right now. Employees are not always trying to break the rules. No, they're not. They're just trying to make their work faster. Pity them. I mean,
Yeah.
they have my sympathies and empathies both at the same time. You're using ChatGPT, Claude, or any AI tool which makes sense to them because organizations have not given them a clear, safe alternative. They have not given them the guidance. They have not helped them to understand it better. So the question is not only like how do we stop it? No, that is not the question. The question is, why did people feel the need to go outside the system and take this help? So that is a question that needs to be resolved, honestly, from the organization point of view. So to govern what you cannot see, you need like a few things, right? First, you need like a discovery without blame. Ask the teams. AI is already being used. It's okay. Why are you using it? What are you using? Second, you need a simple AI acceptable use policy, which is the basic, not a thesis, not a 70-page policy, a simple one which people understand so that people should know what data can be put or cannot be put without
Yeah.
like
Right.
just violating any confidentiality of the organization, right? So the third one would be like provide an approved platform. The organization say, okay, you know what, we have had a deal or a contract with this open AI. This is the better one. This is the better tool. We have this confidentiality agreement. It's better you use this. It's a safe path now. It's okay. It's not going to harm anything in our confidentiality or data leakage. But if they know that so they can go around it without any usage policy, that'll be bad. So they should make sure that they are following the policy. And again, the best thing that you can do as an organization, as a leadership, is train your employees. Awareness. Have that language spoken. Keep speaking it. Subconsciously, it goes there in their minds. It's a culture. At the end of the day, it's culture. Employees, give them real examples. No scary legal language. No penalties. No like examples of saying this is the violation, this is the penalty. No, don't use that language. It's scary legal language, right? Employees don't understand that. They just show more resistance with it. It's like a child. You show practical examples. Lead with example. For example, do not. We had this thing like customer personal data leakage, right? So we actually showed it. We showed it. Do not paste this customer personal data information. There were recruitment problems, and we were trying to show it with practical strategy and saying that okay, protect the practical data of the recruitment that they have, the employee records that they have. And then we had tender documents into unapproved. Like we just made it practical and awareness. So governance was like we want governance to make sure it's safe behavior, easier than the risky behavior. We don't want it to make it look complicated or anything very something that is like, oh my god, if I have to do this because it's forced upon me. It just has to happen naturally. Make it like a culture.
Yeah, yeah, right. See, it is not about policing somebody, right? It is
Yes.
about training them. I still
Yeah.
remember one of my friend, and he has been appointed. He completed his training for to be for IPS, right? So
Mm-hmm.
he was supposed to be taking a role of superintendent of police.
Mm-hmm.
Before he required to take that charge,
Mm-hmm.
he was given all those kind of roles which anybody is doing in the police department to learn how they work, what they do.
Okay.
One thing which he taught me, he
Mm-hmm.
said, Sandeep, people doesn't break the law. The problem is they don't know what the law is. So if
Yes.
you're not going to train them about the law, they will break it.
Educate them. Just
Yeah. So unlearn, relearn is very, very important. And
right.
what you rightly said, in your organization, the first thing before bringing this new kid into your ecosystem,
Yeah.
make everybody aware of it that
Yeah.
he's a very naughty kid. Please beware of him. He can create a lot of problem for you as well as for us. And
Yeah.
we are giving you this tool.
Yes.
Make best use of it. Now, there is one more very, very important thing.
Yeah.
When you are training your kid, you tell him what is wrong, what is right.
Yeah.
So, and when you're giving a tool to any of the employee, it becomes very important to tell them what is this tool is for. It
Right.
is not to write your emails. It is
Hmm.
basically to help you in lot of in rather larger problems which require lot of time, energy, and efforts. So if
Yes.
you are going to use this tool in just writing your emails or crafting some
In your
images,
reports, I mean, that's fine.
yeah,
You can have a, like a
yeah,
larger for an audit planning or a
yes,
scheduling. I
yes,
mean, these kind of bigger projects, bigger
yes.
documents where there are a lot of documents you need to summarize. Then it's
Correct.
fair. It's pretty fair.
So it can be a wonderful tool, and we have seen this in my in I
Yeah.
think now there's 30 years of working into the industry, and we have seen any tool which has come, you name it, you
Yeah.
have to teach it, you have to train it to your team. Many
Yes.
people still don't know how to use Excel.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So here comes my next question, and I think, and it is very interesting discussion because working on the governance practices, managing a lot of large programs, I believe driving any program is not possible until unless you don't have your governance practices in place.
True.
So that is how I've been able to drive it. So you describe data governance and privacy as a course specialism, not
Yeah.
just compliance but strategy.
Yeah.
Make the business case that most CEOs have not heard. Why is getting data governance right a revenue and growth driver, not just a risk mitigation exercise?
Yeah, data governance is like yeah, most CEOs, what they hear, Mr. Sandeep, is that most CEOs hear that data governance and they hear that data governance and think compliance cost and restrictions. It's like a lot of money is going to go into it. There's a lot of restrictions. Things are going to slow down. It's like the wrong framing, completely wrong picture, right? Good data governance actually helps grow the whole business. It makes the organization more trustworthy, more faster, more ready to scale. It's something that everyone is trying to explain the leadership up there, especially the CEOs, because they're more focused on the revenue and the numbers and the sales. That's what's driving their position and their reputation at the end of the day. But now they see that they don't understand that data is messy. It's duplicated. It's not owned. There's no reliability. The decisions that they are making at that level,
Yeah,
it becomes slower. Sales reports, they're not right. They're depending on the sales report for the revenue, right? But they're not right. They're questioned at the end of the day. Customer records are incomplete. AI outputs are not reliable. Supplier assurance is like so painful. And then audits become stressful. Oh my, they do become stressful because everything is so messy at the end of the day. And how are you going to give that management report to the manager, the CEO himself, if everything is so messy at the end of the day? Due diligence, it takes longer, forever, honestly speaking. But that's what happens. So when data is like governed properly, the business usually moves forward. You can respond to the clients with confidence. You can enter the regulated markets which have regulatory needs. You can bid over there and gain more revenue. You can launch AI cases with less chaos, not completely no chaos. Of course, there's chaos at the end of the day. You can prove compliance using tenders. You can bid in those places where you were scared to bid because of your messiness that you had. You can make better decisions because leadership is not arguing about like which spreadsheet or which Excel sheet is correct. Oh no, don't give that version, give that version, like that. So it basically creates trust. And basically, the business case is simple. The CEOs need to hear this. Data governance reduces friction. It does grow your revenue. It doesn't make anything slow. Trust creates speed, and speed creates growth.
and the data trust and transparency is very important because if you're managing a large organization and if your data is not trusted by you, you are always you feel yourself
On the edge,
either filled with the
always
wrong
on the
data
edge.
on strong data governance being already in place.
Without violating any confidentiality, I do have a very practical example. It's a supplier assurance and enterprise procurement. Like for a large client, especially in the regulated and enterprise environment, you're often asked to prove how you manage quality, security, privacy, continuity, ESG, and risk, right? So if you already, we had this strong governance evidence. Like if you have it, you're ready. If you do not have it, you lose time and credibility and even the eligibility. You just get nullified. You get unvalid. Like you can't bid, you can't there. That's like so many cases that I had in my experience in the past 2 years. That this is one of the strongest reasons that we've lost a lot of bids is because there is a lot of assurance required, a lot of data governance is required. So strong data governance can directly support a deal, a certification, a tender, a very big bid, and a market entry where you never thought that. It's just not just the back office compliance anymore. It's actually going into deciding whether the business is like trusted well enough in the entire ecosystem currently, especially here in this country.
I will ask a different question for you. And
Mhm.
you're a woman building a GRC and AI governance career in Saudi Arabia, a
Yes,
market undergoing some of the most dramatic social and professional transformation in the
yes.
world. Under Vision 2030, what has
Mhm.
that context meant for your career, and what does the landscape for women in governance and
Mhm.
compliance role actually look like on the ground today?
Wow, Mr. Sandeep, I've seen it evolve. I've really seen it in real time. I've seen this evolve. Building that GRC and AI governance career in KSA in Saudi Arabia, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia itself. It's
Hmm.
meaningful because the market is changing super fast. It's really on the it's treading really fast, and Vision 2030 has created a different level of ambition. I've got that inside of me. I've got a lot of ambitions inside of me, growth inside of me. Organizations are like modernizing. Boards are paying. It's a change culture right now. It's like this culture is being changed. It's evolving spontaneously and dynamically into where boards are paying attention to governance. It's not just enforced by the government. It's just happening naturally, slowly, steadily, naturally. And digital transformation is accelerating at a speed we cannot imagine. AI is becoming like a national and business priority. It's part of their vision, of course, but every day now they're emphasizing AI is important, digitalization is important. When I say specifically for women, that creates opportunity. It creates opportunity because opportunity does not remove the need to prove credibility, right? So we have a lot of opportunity. In governance and compliance, you often have rooms, people where they expect you to be precise, they want you to talk confidently, technically strong, which technically being the key word, and you need to understand the framework, but you also need to understand the business reality. So for me, the Saudi context has taught me resilience. You have to prepare well, speak with evidence, of course, confidence, but
Yeah.
evidence, because they believe you. At the end of the day, they have to believe you, right? So you are more confident when they're speaking with evidence. You have something to back you up with, and you need to stay calm when the room is very challenging. So if the room is challenging you in places and in my mental ways, that you are not just stay calm, just be there. So the positive part is like the landscape is opening. There's a lot of more scope, more lot of women are entering this industry where there's a lot of women in governance and compliance and risk. I mean, it's a huge market out there with opportunity. But the presence is only the first step. So there is presence. Next step, we're all working towards influencing. That's the next step.
Yeah. And I also heard one of the leader in the Middle East has also expressed his desire in coming years 50% of government operation to be run by AI. So I believe
Yeah,
these kind of ambitions are really makes a difference, right?
yeah.
And the kind of vision 2030, uh, we talk user experience, we talk about employee experience. I've seen people talking about the citizen experience. Thank you sharing your thoughts. And now the next question, where Noor, I'm coming on the GRC again.
Yeah.
GRC is often seen as a control function, the team that says no, but your
Mhm.
professional description is about governance that holds under pressure
Right,
and that is built to work.
right.
How do you build credibility as a governance professional when the organization's default instinct is to see you as an obstacle to speed?
Right. GRC. It's not an obstacle. It's a partner. It's like how you treat ChatGPT nowadays, or maybe Claude. That's how it should be, honestly. GRC is seen like
Yeah.
the team. It's seen often as like the team that says no. The word no, it hits you there. It hits you. So no becomes. It's because any governance professional enters that conversation too late, not in the beginning, right? So they come in towards the end and they're like, no, you cannot do this right now. It's because you actually cannot do it at that point of time. They didn't come in prior. So if the business had already built in the solution, selected the vendor, launched the campaign, promised the client something, and then governance feels like a break because that's when you come in. Everything is done and then you come in, right? So the way to build credibility is to enter earlier, be there prior to everything happen, be there in the speaking options, be there instead of saying, no, you cannot do this. Don't say that. Say, here are the things that are going to happen. These are the bare minimum controls that you need to have. This is the safest way to move without hurting yourself. And these are the words that you need to use so that they get you and they understand. why it's being said in the beginning itself. Business leaders respect governance when it helps them move without creating unnecessary exposure or unnecessary obstacles, right? So I always say governance should not be like the department of fear, because that's what it's felt like at the end of the day. It should be discipline of better decisions. It should feel more like a friend, someone you turn back to and listen to at the end of the day, has your back always. So it's like understanding the business objective first. If I understand the business objective, okay, what are we trying to achieve? Of course, numbers, right? We're trying to achieve that. But at the same time, what is the deadline? What is the risk appetite? What is non negotiable for my business objective? What can be controlled? What cannot be controlled? That is when GRC professionals understand the pressure of operations. They become more useful. They need to understand this. They just can't go say, okay, the best practices say this, that's why you need to not do this. No, that's not how it works. You need to understand. You need to customize your brain as per the business objective and work through it. Build like credibility, not by blocking everything that you have in front or what is working. You need to build credibility by helping the organization with what they are doing already. Just make it safely happen. That's what I feel.
Yeah. So actually, you are right at your point. But what happens whenever you're going to ask to have those guardrails to ensure there is no surprise, as I told in the starting, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at many cases, people see it as a roadblocker.
They do.
It's slowing down the speed of transitions or
Yeah.
transformation. But the fact is, if you fall back after 8 months or 1 year of your transformation journey,
Yeah.
because you have ignored the governance, you
Yeah.
have to go back and waste the entire 1 year. So
Yes.
it is not about speed, yes.
Yeah.
So it is about ensuring the successful transformation or successful transition of the project, right?
True.
So I 100% agree with you. What is the one thing that when a GRC professional does it consistently
Mm-hmm.
makes business leaders stop seeing them as a gatekeeper and start treating them as a strategic partner?
I have this one thing that I go by. I bring the problem, or I bring the risk, which I think is a risk. I don't use the word risk in front of them because suddenly it triggers something. So I don't bring the word risk. I say, okay, this is a problem. This is a challenge that we have, and then they start building their guardrails and start getting those China walls in front of them, right? So immediately after that, I bring in the solution. Like, you know what? I've done my homework. This is the solution. We can immediately solve this, and this is how it can be done with the lowest impact or the lowest cost or control options that we have. That's when the business leaders or the executives or the people who are going to handle this problem see you differently, because they stop thinking, oh, here comes the police, or here comes the compliance officer, oh, here comes the auditor walking in with their pride and with their arrogance. No, they start thinking, good, this person's going to come in with a challenge. Yes, I'm ready, but they're going to solve it for me as well. So that's what I feel that should be consistent.
Yeah, very nicely put, Ms. Noor, because we have to understand where and what we want to bring on the table. And there's always very small tweaks are required to meet those expectations, as you rightly said, without even impacting the business continuity.
Yeah. Doing this? No, not at all. It's very doable.
I think it's a mindset. If you want to
Yes.
do it, you can do it.
Yes, it's a mindset. It's a culture mindset. It's a whole thing. It's
Yes,
happening. It's moving. It's gonna happen eventually.
right, right. So I have a question for the young professionals.
Hmm.
If there is a young professional in the GCC right now,
Yeah.
maybe working in operation or administration, watching this,
Yes.
and think I want to do what Noor does, right? What is
Oh
the
my.
honest first step, not the credential list,
Oh, my
the
first
actual move they
reaction
should
for
make
that, Mr.
tomorrow?
Sandeep, is like, oh my God, it's an honor. You really want to do something like me? I'm
Yeah.
really honored. It's flattering. But I would suggest don't go deep
Hmm.
dive into the long list of certifications, because yes, I do have them. So people eventually think that, okay, let's just certify 10 of these certifications, go into all of those standards. No, that's not how I did it. Honestly, it looks like that, but that's not how I did it. So the first step would be understand the business process, general, real, ground reality business process, not just from the books or from the theory or what people are speaking. Pick one process. Just pick one process in your organization today, tomorrow, or this week, whenever you're ready. It may be like procurement, onboarding, customer complaint department, the vendor management department, or just as simple as incident reporting, or maybe the training department. Just pick a process, right? Just pick it and map it out simply in your brain. Even don't do any solid paperwork. You don't have to do any like real paperwork, note taking. No, just map it out there in your brain simply, and then try to identify who starts this process, who's approving it. Try to identify those core points in that process. What's going wrong? What's happening? Why is it struggling? Why are people struggling in such a simple process? What evidence is happening over there? Is there paper trail? Are people actually owning this? Okay, some problem happened right now. Did someone own it? Did someone record it? Where is the gap? Find that. Just understand that process. This exercise on a daily basis will actually help you understand more about governance naturally, subconsciously, than just going to a book and memorizing what is the definition of governance. Of course, that needs to happen eventually down the line. You really need to understand that as well. But naturally, subconsciously incorporating that into your personality, this is what is going to help. You need to ask the teams or the departments for voluntary support. Go volunteer for work. Give yourself exposure to these kind of aspects in a process. Just go say, okay, fine, I want to help you out with your audit planning. Let me schedule your audit planning meetings with the stakeholders. I mean, just be a part and parcel of the game. And then you understand what's happening on ground reality. Of course, certifications are very important. They add to your profile. They make more sense only when you have seen the problems in real life. That's how it is. So my advice is simple. Become useful before becoming impressive. So if you've been useful somewhere, definitely you're going to impress a lot of people. You can help make a team process clearly and then reduce the risk, prepare the evidence, close a finding properly. You're already doing GRC without the certificate. So that's your real first goal.
Yeah, absolutely right. And what matters here is to understand the process.
Yes.
And if you have the clarity in your process, you do the right research on the ground. If you walk through with each and every step, I think you will have real control on it.
Yes.
And I would move to the last part of my today's session with you, Noor.
Yes.
And these are the 5 moves which on the Shatranj board.
Very
And I would
exciting.
like to have your first instinct only. So, and I would like to have as a fireside, I'll ask some question at rapid fire and
Yeah.
look forward for a, first instinct answer from your side.
Okay. Great.
So
Shoot.
ISO certification versus genuine governance culture, which is harder to build?
Genuine governance culture. It needs to be done every day.
The most dangerous AI governance gap in organizations today: bias, privacy, or accountability?
Accountability. Bias, privacy are serious, but accountability decides everything. So accountability.
Absolutely. PDPL or GDPR, which is the tougher compliance challenges for KSA based organization?
Well, this is very regional. If I'm going to ask for, like, if you're going to ask me regionally, it's okay. Say it's PDPL, of course. But if a company is internationally based, it's the challenge is more like doing both together without gaps.
Wonderful. One book or framework every GRC professional should have read by now?
I swear by OSEC, Open Compliance Ethics Group, GRC Capability Model. That's your holy book.
That's wonderful. Boards in 2030, will they finally take governance seriously or will it be a theater?
Both. The best boards, honestly, it will still be both. I mean, but the difference would be by 2030, the cost of theatrical things that will happen will be much higher. That's all.
Thank you, Noor. And it was very interesting discussion. And I see uh, the practitioner like you on the other side who has a grip on his subject. And
Yeah.
you have been able to address each and every question which has been put from my side.
Thank you.
And in this episode of Shatranj, we try to see what are the checkmate moments where you get stuck and how you help the board or the leadership to come out of those stages.
Right.
And in the ever evolving phase of this technology, the governance risk and compliance is always going to be there, because today we are sitting at an edge where the data is new oil. You are coming from a country of oil, and definitely the data is becoming more costlier than the oil of Middle East,
Very
right?
true. Very true. Very true.
So I believe the next risk is not about the oil or the borders. It is going to be the data. It is going to be the
Yes.
governance, and everybody is trying to see the ways and means to attack on your data. And if you are going to have a right governance, risk, and compliance in place, I'm
Yes.
sure these kind of risks can be avoided. Thank you,
True.
Ms. Noor, for
Thank
joining
you.
us and giving us your valuable time and inputs. I hope the audience will like this episode of Shatranj. Until the next, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.